In today's lesson, we're going to discuss your position when you're in an exchange, when you're in the middle distance, when you're in the pocket. We're gonna lean on lane theory a little bit to identify what we can throw and what we need to worry about our opponent throwing. And we're gonna talk about the 3 positions that you can use to dominate your exchanges. The 3 positions that we want to identify today are going to be deep angles, short angles, and lanes. A deep angle takes 3 beats for you to get your offense started, and when you get those 3 beats of breakaway, you're completely safe. Now, we know a deep angle is the penultimate position if you are attacking in the middle distance, because you can hit your opponent high and low with both hands, and they can't hit you with anything. But finding 3 beats of breakaway is a really tough thing to do against a competent fighter. Our next position is the short angle. The short angle takes 2 beats for you to start your offense. You are safe from one of your opponent's hands, but you are still vulnerable from their far side. So you have some of the advantages of taking a deep angle, but not all of them, but you can do this in 2 beats. You can do this more quickly. A lane, you can attack on the very first beat when you take a lane, but a lane is a 50-50 position. You have no positional advantage. Now, don't think that because you have no positional advantage, this means that you have no advantage. Simply the fact that you are leading the dance, that you are dictating this position, is an advantage. So a lane is a dominant position to take if you're the one taking it. Beginning with our deep angle. When I take a deep angle, I take my first step, usually combined with some sort of offense to hide the movement or defense to take advantage of my opponent attacking me. I take my second step to set the foot on the side that I will be attacking center line with. I always attack center line first on that 3rd beat, and then I follow up behind the guard, whether this is high or whether this is low. This is the highest percentage way that you can attack following taking an angle. You're either gonna land both shots, miss the first shot and land the second shot, or have your opponent turn in to that second shot as they turn to meet you. If you look at Mike Tyson, Lomachenko, Roy Jones Jr., Triple G, Sugar Ray Robinson, pick a good, competent fighter, and you will see that this is the pattern that they follow. There are lots of permutations on how you're going to structure these 2 shots once you've taken a deep angle. You can throw a 3 to the head, you can throw a 3 to the body, you can throw a 5 to the head, and then you can follow up with a chopping right hand over the shoulder or a rip down to the ribs behind that left elbow of your opponent. A lot of this is going to depend on how your opponent reacts to you taking this position. If they slap up a high guard, you're probably going to hit that center line to the body first. If they slap up a half guard and hide behind that shoulder, you're going to use their chest to guide a 5 up to their chin. And then even though we talk about so much of our tactics being proactive in boxing, you're gonna have to make a read punch to punch, moment to moment on how best to follow up that initial shot to center line. 2, attack center line, behind the guard, or uppercut, behind the guard, or center line. Pivot, attack center line, behind the guard, or attack center line, over the shoulder, or attack center line. Our next dominant position is the short angle. Mike Tyson does this better than anybody. He takes these awesome 45-degree angles to set up his uppercuts. This makes sense. Nobody's gonna stand in front of Tyson for 3 beats for him to take a deep angle. So he is the master of establishing that short angle. The first step, usually combined, all right, with defense or with some sort of feint, all right, to take advantage of your opponent's reaction, sets the foot on the side that you're going to be attacking center line with, okay? So once you've set that foot, you're gonna throw from that side on the second beat of this movement. If I'm going to my left, I'm gonna take a step forward and then I'm gonna pivot as I throw my left hand, just barely clearing my opponent's cross lane. Now I wanna remember, even though I've cleared my opponent's cross lane, I am still vulnerable to his left hand from the far side. So I don't wanna be attacking with my trailing hand, my right hand as I do this. I wanna be attacking with my leading hand. As I lead to my closed side, I'm using my left hand to attack. If I flip this and I was moving my open side, I would use my right hand to attack and my left hand would be high to protect me from my opponent's far side hand. This can be a shot to the head or to the body. It can be a straight shot or an uppercut, but it's a shot that's just barely going to get inside of their guard. That's the idea. Just like I said with deep angles, after you throw that initial shot to center line on the short angle, you're going to make a read on if it is better for your trailing hand to continue to protect you, or if it is better for you to double up and to lash out and attack with that trailing hand. A short angle to my open side would be me stepping in with my right foot, throwing my 6 as I pull my left foot to that 45-degree angle, and then making a read on if it is safer for me to keep my left hand up or for me to attack with my left hand and follow up that right-handed shot that I started this exchange with. An example of this going to your closed side would be step and slip, pivot 5, follow up with the 2. All right. Sometimes I'll step and slip, pivot into that 5. My opponent will defend that shot and they'll look dangerous. And I'm going to want to keep that right hand at my face to protect me from their left hand. But again, you need to make a read moment to moment on how ready and dangerous your opponent appears and when you can press your advantage.
Open side, boom, 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 boom.
It takes 3 beats for you to get your offense started off of a deep angle. It takes 2 beats for you to get your offense started off of a short angle. And if you're taking a lane, you can start your offense on that very first step. One of my favorite combos is walking to my open side lane as I throw my 5-4. You can do the same thing going to your closed side with your 6-3. But again, there are other versions of this. If I'm thinking about my open side, which is my specialty, I like moving to my right, I can throw that 5-4 to the head or that 5-4 to the body. I can step to that lane with a jab, either to the head or to the body, and follow up with that 4 high and low. There are 6 different permutations of this that I can do. And again, it depends on where the openings are and what your opponent gives you to work with. Something that's important to remember when you're taking this lane is you can attack center line as you take this lane on your very first step, and then you can follow up behind their guard on your second step, but you cannot attack center line once you've taken the lane. If I show my opponent that I am in a position for them to throw a hook at me, and then I remove the hand that is supposed to protect me from their far side hook, that's bad boxing. I believe it's Teddy Atlas that says boxing isn't what you do, it's when you do, and this is a really good example of this. I can go step and 5, step and 4, but I can't go step and 5, 4. That'll get me in a lot of trouble.
5, 4, 1, 4, 6, 3. Go like overhand show.
One of the things I love about the combo box is that even if you don't have a coach to guide you through your positions in the middle distance, the box will structure you, will railroad you, will force you into thinking about your positions. Because of these hard, flat facets and surfaces on the box, you have to move. You cannot fall into that trap on the combo box that you fall into on a heavy bag of throwing these ugly, smothered little 45-degree hooks, all right? It forces you to take lanes, to take angles, to think about how you position yourself for your uppercuts and your body shots in a way that other pieces of equipment don't, and that's why it's valuable. When I'm on the combo box, it's very obvious how I can create these different attacks as I move around. All right, let's say, for example, that I am taking a lane to my open side. I have 6 different permutations of how I can attack here. I can go high, high, I can go high, low, I can go uppercut high, I can go uppercut low, and I can go low, high, or I can go low, low. And this is all dependent on what my opponent shows me, where I anticipate those openings being or recognize them having been created.
5, 4 high. 5, 4 low. 1, 4 high. 1, 4 low. Jab low, 4 high. And we can do jab low, 4 low. Those are all 4. You can go step, pull, and then I can make a read. And if I want to follow up, if I'm taking a deep angle, 1, 2, 3, bang. 1, 2, bang. 1, 2, low. 1, 2, high. 1, 2, high, high. 1, 2, high. Position myself to throw. Position myself to throw.
Moving around in the pocket is a scary prospect. The closer you get to an opponent, the more quickly and egregiously you are punished for poor positioning. And that makes the prospect of hanging out in range very, very scary. Let me demystify this a little bit by letting you know what your options are from these different positions. If you drill mindfully and thoughtfully, whether you're shadow boxing, whether you're hitting bob, whether you're hitting the bag, whether you're using the combo box, whether you're drilling with a partner, your options from a deep angle, a short angle, and a lane, then all of the sudden you have a roadmap to guide you through exchanges, and the middle distance becomes significantly less frightening. Something else that's important to remember here when I'm working in the middle distance, I'm moving around in the pocket, is the way that lanes and levels interact in boxing means that by you changing position at all, you have a 2/3 chance of successfully defending yourself. You combine this with some basic positional understanding, some pattern recognition, and understanding of lane theory, and layering in your defense, and all of a sudden, you're defending 90+% of the shots that your opponent is throwing back at you. A lot of times your defense isn't about seeing and reacting to a shot, it's about being a hard target to hit. And if you're on the hunt, changing positions and changing head slots while you're trying to tear into somebody in the pocket, then you're gonna be tough to hit, and that's gonna protect you and make your aggression all the more effectual. Hopefully something I touched on today sparked an understanding in you, lit that flame so that you can keep training hard and you can structure your education in a way that makes you the best boxer you can possibly be. I hope you folks really grabbed onto some of this today so that you too can succeed when you fight.